very terrifying and also very exciting to have published this, and so many people helped it become what it is, and many of them are here tonight, and I'm so grateful to know each and every one of them. So I have my little list here. Okay. I feel nervous. Okay.
We love you, Wendy.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Don't pass out. Okay. 1,000 black cats. Oh wait, well, hold on. Sorry. Sorry. I wanted to read the quote at the beginning of the book, and the books are here for sale. They're $10. Monster House Press is such a wonderful thing that exists here in Indiana, and I just want you to all support it so much. So buy all of the books. They're all good. But this is the quote, and it's by Bernadette Mayer. It's from a poem called "The Way to Keep Going in Antarctica." Be strong, Bernadette. Nobody will ever know. I came here for a reason. Perhaps there is a life here, of not being afraid of your own heart beating. Do not be afraid of your own heart beating. Look at very small things with your eyes and stay warm. 1,000 black cats. I hear the sound of the soft paws of 1,000 black cats, who are slowly circling, with erect tails, sleek fur rubbing my crossed leg, all crawling into my lap, their purrs reverberating. Have you reckoned forever much? What is your vagina's ability to reckon forever? What you want a man for if you don't want children? I never know I feel what I am saying. I never know what I am saying. I never say I know. I never say I am. I never say stop. End this. Heal thyself. Do not be afraid. I command thee. Go directly to the cupboard. The inlaid look of flowers is me. The scent that lingers after is me. Find a cloth, a sanitary napkin, something, a needle, a bit of string to thread and sew it shut. Then lurch out of the woods like you've been on a long walk. Overturn stones, stir the dirt. See the stone turned over, its damp underbelly a soft sacrifice for finding. Examine the perimeter of the house, where it folds into itself, where the corners merge at awkward angles. Find where the mice get in. Find where the mice get out. You're going to catch me if I pass out? Very nervous, very uncharacteristically nervous. I've done 25 poetry readings this year, and I feel so nervous right now. And I posted more than that, so I don't know. This is because it's like it's all on the book, you know. I'm going to explain some things about the book as I go, but for now, I'm just going to do this one. There's no animation for this one, I think so. Anxious Dreamer. I am my own conch shell's canyon, my own vinegar bottle, busted, on fractilic hexagonal tiles. I'm my own soul's rod tethered to the temporal. I am my own self's disoriented night pilot, fucked by the sky, the surface of earth strange as any others. I am the steel canister's stealthy body steadily hurled through time. I'm an itty-bitty baby, a shitty brat, not my daughter, an object, a Republican, then a Democrat, then nothing. A virgin and a whore, and I work at a drugstore, and this world's not made for me. This world's not made for no one. My therapist and I both have names that appear in Beach Boys songs. She's help me, Rhonda. I'm Wendy. Wendy, what went wrong? It's Black History Month. It's Teen Dating Violence Month. It's National Poetry Month. It's Labor Day. It's your birthday. It's St. Patrick's Day, again. Neil Armstrong is dead. Neil Cassidy is dead. Carl Sagan is dead. Carl Wilson is dead. Chuck Berry is dead. Chuck Stearns is dead. Walt Whitman is dead. Walt Disney is dead. Yoga is the practice of quiet contortions. The only thing in the room is sweat, creaking joints, huffs of breath, splayed like a corpse on the mat. She asks for my earliest memory. She asks, how old were you when the molest happened? I hold a small, green stone, polished and worn like a gem in my riverbed palm. Some archaic wave knocks me and I roll over. The walls are white, his hair is black, the toilet with the wooden seat. He is sitting, ejaculates, is holding out his hand, extending one white drop. He says, eat it, tells me semen is really tiny tadpoles. After that, I'd vomit whole fish. Thank you. She needs a second, okay. This next poem that I'm going to read is, I think it's the first poem that I wrote that's in this collection. And I wrote it in 2011 when I was still studying writing at the School of Art Institute, Chicago. And it's titled Signs, and it is the genus of birds that are songbirds. And it's very much characterized by living in Chicago at the time. So, ready on one?
Yeah.
Okay. Signs. My eye is always caught by some semblance in the underbrush. I cannot say what shape I saw, save it was a moving mass of brazen black. We towered between the trees, or else they leaned in over us. See, I remember, once out roaming, the hemlocks had hum, the hydrangeas had hymned, the moon laid green light on Persephone's skin. She reached up one barbed bough and grasped at beyond us. This veiled creature, arcane owl-eyed beggar, sentient and seated at the summit of Granite Hill, slick below the bellows of a bell tower doling out strokes lined in luna cornea. And Sterling sings my home in Indiana. With rusted gullet cried, crow-throated, you are closer to the bird than I. Speaks it, plucked from air onto strings, a trembling tune of the moon at half-mast. She knows. She has seen a birch bent rough right at the neck. In Lavender's field, mottled, blank prairie, she was the only thing still. Soon the earth would turn in on itself, husks of summer pools folding over into winter. She would make a nest in a tree, or in that triangle where the awning meets the eave, whose habitations, in the treetops even, are halfway houses on the road to heaven. This vagrant slouched to sleep on her own slumped shoulders. The bird sits high in a branchless pine, ordained by God, with a fresh smear of red clay on breast. At best, I'm smudged red also. Turned and timber stripped, we two cedars waning. Buried slivers in the garden spread with flowers and their dim names, Daisy, Posy, Poppy, all little girls with their heads open to sky. Bees crawling in and out of their yawning brain, absolutely dumb with sun. I read words on rock. Graffiti scrawls out, still love you. Light through lines cross his thighs, cross his chest, and the feathers that gathered at his groin and gaping fingers, and his hollow-boned shoulders. Head cocked, birds watched. Bullfinches and bramblings, tits and thrashers, jays and crows, satellas and sparrows and shrikes. Whoever hung round lent a voice, cawed a carol of rough-hewn notes sewn with what I'd snuck off to smoke and stood abrupt where the edge of the scrub brush had been hacked off by jutting rock. Circa 1962, the sunken living room spread with pickled, tiny corns, black-pitted olives, sweet dill, and so many deviled eggs. And there's Mary, purling herself into her knitting, tendrils of white blonde wrapped round alpaca homespun. Chuck was just letting the barn fall down. Saw it leaning out the window some Thanksgiving time. Let it languish, lean, and loll till the ceiling's knuckled beams knelt each rib a scummed-up cherub. On the way home, at the station at Gary Metro, I see a set of 7 gutted 12-story tenements needing tending. Blue-paned windows blocked the color copper rusts into. Sky flakes off like old bark. The river was the river Styx, with soul fog slithering over it, and I was crossing into Hades with Hermes, who took the shape of a woman walking down the street dragging a suitcase and a hockey scythe. It's so funny to do these animations because I've never seen them, and I'll never see them. So they're cool. But thank you so much, Emily, for doing this. This poem's called Mary's Entry on Cardinals. It was written around the same time, I think. No, this was the first year I lived in Indianapolis. I rode the bus a lot. So there's some imagery from riding the bus. Mary's Entry on Cardinals. Bags of leaves line the streets. Black, 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 pink. Who decides which bus stops get benches? I have nothing impactful to unpack here for you on this blanket, but a few whittled twigs. They are not a symbol of anything. I line them up how I was told. A human thought, designed, made everything I can see from where I'm sitting, except the solid steel facade of the sky and the green stuff shooting up everywhere. It's an old idea, monument for nothing. Just time on someone else's clock. Here lies disembodied fence post, sidewalk fragment, tall weeds that bend in the house's guts. Lately, I've caught the most pleasant song like, cheer up, spring is here, wet year, wet year. That's a Cardinal song. Oh, this is the only one that's out of order. Gotta find it. Ready, Emily?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the last poem that I wrote that's in the book. Container. Hello, little dove. Come towards me. Let loose the dogs. Unstop my lungs. Stoop and scrape my halo from my boot. I've walked all over me. Every step a dismantling of a thriving throng of praise. For 10 days, I never saw the moon. Instead, ascended a soft-skinned stair, called down the dark hall, who is there, and the echo of my own name answered. Positioned a sprig of lavender in the crook of a door jamb. Peered into a silence that ended when I closed my eyes. Practiced a hunched extraction of all disturbing memories. Focused on the smallest story ever told. A pale green infrastructure, the inner architecture of a thought. Flat as light, no detail, no dimension. Glossed, divotless, holy, unmarred. Rolled it between my palms. Held it under my chin, pinned to my chest. There should be a law against me. The next two poems have the same title, but they're synonyms. So this one's called Hypnagogia, which are the hallucinations that you may have as you're falling asleep. Anybody else? I have one where I feel like my hands are really big, and then I feel like they're really small, and then they're big again. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? They don't make sense. And then I'm like, oh, I'm asleep. Hypnagogia. A small house white fledgling stomped out, toed between two stairs. Open-beaked head fixed to the street under, in the death throes. His unkempt croak slipped out calm below the rattle of traffic and train roar. The past is a locked storage closet in a strip mall's dentist's office brimming with brown-stained boxes. Stay behind. Gather them up for me. This box is full of bike spokes, ship's ruts, only one shoes, slides in Kodachrome, color-coded, stacked samples for a microscope, a catalog of rabbit's blood, an archive of place names curled in pencil on their perimeter, from Victoria Peak, Hong Kong in a fog, or snapshots, tunnel light through and see them coughed up on the wall. Know his gnarled ear, his greased up forelock, hands folded and knelt next to the Christmas tree. Can't conjure him. It's why I need you to stay here. Sift through these boxes full of rickety bridges. Foots creaking the first step. Careful with the lifting. The contents may have begun a lucid germination. White-fleshed rhizomes splayed on sweating linoleum. So helpful. Thank you. Okay, so the next one is called Phantasmata, which is just a synonym for utopia. But these poems were written 4 years apart. So. Thanks, Brandon. I didn't get to the page yet. Okay, there we go. Phantasmata. Eating bread and potatoes from leftover wedding plates. In a cramped parlor, dimly glowing, ambiently throbbing, articulate lamplight throwing shadow on disheveled silver, crushed napkins. Take these scraps from plate to belly, laughing, licking fingers, the meaning I find later. Jellied and tinny and tinged with menstrual red, in early menses brown of old blood hue hooked into the moon's tug. I cannot give a man this. Not one man, not 20. This is for me only. This one golden scrap that leaks through. This one golden scrap I keep for myself, wear on a heavy chain between my breasts, a limping straggler stranded on a beaten path. These woods, this desert, pygmy forest, gnarled pine grove, pulverized obsidian hillside buzzing with volcanic reverberations on earth. This flurry of words poured forth. Stealed away under the stair, a door to a slanted ceiling, a step into air, a door to another world just over this one. The veil run thin, and the veil shrugged loose and fallen to the floor. Crowding the stair, standing in the doorway, illuminating a path out. Go forth and be together with the murmuring child inside you. Go forth and be together with the trembling toddler awakened by a stark, thundering truth. The long night runs over with loneliness. Order imposed, order impossible. Imagine all I have deemed impossible and vanished from my reality. Invite it back, beg that it return. Oh, come on. Okay, 3 more. I don't usually read this one. It's called Night Gardener. I remember that Alessandra gave me some comments on this poem when it was just 6 lines long, and it took me like 3 years to finish it. So here it is, and it's final. It's final because I printed it in the book, so it's over. All right, so Night Gardener. I sit with my feelings, turn them over in my palm until they are a worn stone. I trail a long skirt, and it collects pet hair, mud, washes easy, tumbles dry. I say a few words, and they fall with a dusty thwack, spilt flour from a split sack. I'm the sort of person who could understand just about anything. Stew it in my mind, make a broth from its guts, tossed vegetable tops. My kettle welcomes the kitchen's imperfect produce. A divided, knobby potato, flaccid celery stalks, a stubby carrot shaped like the bottom half of a chubby baby, armfuls of shriveled sage, shavings, clippings, peelings, dust, the skin garlic shrugs off. I sweep it all into the pot. After sundown, I tend my scrawny plot, when the roots' fingers' grip is made less by sleep. Unwelcome plants dig deep trenches, require furious hacking, pull the nerves from the clods of dirt and watch them twitch. Green corpses far flung on the lawn, crabgrass, prickly lettuce, ragweed, thistle, dandelion. That's it. all there? Yeah. Okay. I don't remember why I wrote this poem. Just kind of happens. Enough. I have had enough. Enough bright red berries on the fall tree. Enough cans of beans lining grocery store shelves. Enough sucked dry land. Burning houses. Enough trash for 1 million more lives in a heap. Enough puff of guilt mist hunched over the highway. Needles in pine forests. Tangles in hair. Fungal spores. Sawdust. Oyster shells. Ants carving a clear path through the garden. Harsh words uttered. My ever-shifting bitter never-lovingness. Enough apology. Burnt creek. Curled smoke of incense. Enough dough formed, baked, buttered, and cut. Enough love in every man's heart for all of us. Enough lamp-lit wooden kitchen tables to crouch near. Enough toilets for shitting, tiles in the bathroom floor, seats on the subway, cracks in the wall. Enough love for us all. Enough cars in the junkyard, plastic fragments on the roadsides, cats in the barn. So this is the last poem in the book and the last poem that I'm going to read. There's books for sale. There's still a little wine left. There's some snacks. So please stick around for a moment and talk and share some time with each other. You look cool. So this poem was written after I saw this photo, which is a family photo. And my dad cut out my mom's face from all of my photos when I was born because he's very bitter, I guess. It's hard for me to imagine that bitterness, but I'm trying. Okay, so it's called Solstice. Down by my hometown's tiny public beach, my dad and his wife in matching red shirts, chain smoking on a picnic table bench in the shade of the pavilion. I am walking down to the water, stashing my sandals in the grass. I want to touch Lake Michigan on the summer solstice, pass to it a message. The beach is squirming with many human bodies, babies supine on blankets, wiggling in the shade of their strollers, children splashing ecstatic in rippling sooty water, 3 separate scratchy Bluetooth speakers croaking top 40, teenagers tugging at each other's swimsuits. Steel mills flank the narrow beach, per hour pumping out 10,000 gallons of boiling water, merging with the lake in a kind of restless, steaming estuary. This beach is disappearing because the lake is rising, because man-made structures contribute to erosion and interrupt the cycle that causes sand to collect on the beach and forms the dunes. Ever more extreme storms forging 20-foot waves that rake the loamy soil into the lake. I send my love to the honorable, anonymous person who put up fences, signs, asked that people not climb the steep, sandy mounds, not roll down the sides of their rapidly shifting complexity. The dunes, they are really human swallowing beings, the sign reads. Later, my dad is telling a long, quiet, minutely detailed story about everything he did that day. How he got up at 5 a.m., my brother didn't call yet. How he cleaned a finger-length filter with a toothbrush 10 times. It purifies the oil that lubricates the wheels of the machine that grinds the rolls flat. Called an electrician from another department to recalibrate a ceiling crane that refused to move from east to west. I watch his wife, listen intently, looking into his eyes, silent, nodding the whole time, though she has heard a story like this every day for over 10 years. Later, my dad shows me a picture from the day I was born. He has cut out my mother's face. She is a woman in a plaid robe holding my newly formed body like a bag of ice. Thank you.